The legendary actor Robert Redford, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. In the 1970s, he was also an activist known for his political activism as well for his founding of the Sundance Film Festival. We have just had it confirmed that Robert Redford has died. Something's not right. His body, it's like it was trying to say something before his heart stopped. These were the words of Dr. Henry Lell, known to have accompanied Robert Redford for more than 2 decades. He further emphasized that Redford did not pass away in his sleep. At least that's what an internal medical report, which was almost destroyed, had once revealed. From that very moment, the chain of events surrounding Redford's passing began to grow increasingly mysterious. His body was not taken to a public hospital. No official record from the Utah Department of Health existed, and the cremation was carried out within just 3 days. Too fast, too quiet. So much so that even close friends thought it was fake news. What then was truly inside Robert Redford's body? And why did that doctor say the truth would haunt the world forever? The news broke on a calm morning, September 16, 2025. Shocking Hollywood. Robert Redford, a symbol of American cinema, and the man behind dozens of masterpieces, had passed away in his sleep at his home in the Sundance Mountains of Utah at the age of 89. The announcement came from Rogers and Cowan, PMK, the longtime agency that had represented him for decades. Only a few short lines, a single confirming sentence, were enough to shake the artistic world. No detailed statement, no quotes from doctors or family members. Everything was released with cold precision and as if someone had deliberately chosen silence. That very haste and quietness led the public to question, how could a man who appeared healthy at the 2023 Sundance Film Festival, passionately speaking about cinema and the environment, pass away so silently just 2 years later? Why was the death of such a legend reported in such a brief, detached manner? According to the Salt Lake Tribune, Redford was found unresponsive around 5 to 20 a.m. by his private housekeeper in an upstairs room overlooking the pine forest. His family immediately called Dr. Henry Lell, a geriatric specialist in Salt Lake City who had cared for Redford for more than 20 years. When he arrived, he could only confirm one thing. Redford had departed peacefully, probably over an hour earlier. However, what drew the media's attention was that no emergency signal was ever logged from the mansion throughout the night of the 15th or early morning of the 16th. The surrounding area remained completely silent. Neighbors never heard an ambulance or a police car. Everything was announced only after the press release was issued. That stillness stirred the internet. Some claimed he had passed earlier than stated, while others suspected the family had chosen secrecy to avoid public noise. That same afternoon, major outlets like CNN, ABC News, and Vanity Fair all released analyses. Journalist Jake Tapper called it passing too perfect not to raise questions, while veteran writer Mark Harris Vanity Fair revisited Redford's final appearances. He had shown up at an environmental conference in New Mexico in May 2025, where he unexpectedly left the stage early, saying he felt elated from the high-altitude air. Organizers then said it was minor fatigue, but now, in hindsight, that moment seems like an early warning no one recognized. As the news spread, audiences awaited a fitting farewell for the icon. Yet what followed stunned everyone. Redford's family decided to hold a private cremation on the afternoon of September 20th at a funeral facility in Salt Lake City. Only a few relatives and lifelong friends were allowed to attend. There was no public notice, no memorial service, no photos for the press. Everything took place in complete silence. So quiet that even some longtime colleagues at the Sundance Institute had no idea. That level of secrecy made many wonder behind the spotlight. How many secrets had Robert Redford kept hidden all along? A week after the media reported that Redford had passed peacefully in his sleep on September 23, 2025, Variety suddenly published a special feature citing an internal source from the private forensic team Wilson Carter Lab, which had received his body right after his passing, was confirmed at his Sundance home. The story spread quickly under the controversial headline, Redford's Final Hours, What the Body Revealed. According to the report, Dr. Henry Lell, who had monitored Redford's health for more than 20 years, personally signed the provisional death certificate. The brief conclusion read, natural causes, consistent with age-related cardiovascular decline. But what stirred medical circles were the accompanying notes. The body showed no signs of trauma. The skin tone was even with no bruising or spasms, indicating he had passed during deep sleep, possibly from mild cardiac arrest during a dreamlike state. However, the striking detail was that Redford had never been taken to a hospital, or had any medical team intervened at the time he was found. According to the family's attorney, this was his own wish to depart at home in complete privacy, without machines or medical devices. An anonymous source who once worked for the Redford family told the Daily Beast that since 2021, his daughter Amy Redford and his partner Sybil Saggers had repeatedly encouraged him to wear a medical alert device, a smart wristband capable of monitoring heart rhythm and detecting sleep apnea. Redford firmly refused, saying, "If something ever happens, I want it to happen quietly." Yet that choice sparked debate. Just 72 hours later, the family had already completed all posthumous procedures. His remains were moved from Wilson Carter Lab to Heritage Valley Crematory in Salt Lake City. On the afternoon of September 19th, without requesting any additional autopsy, though Utah law allows this, if the attending physician signs a natural death certification, the online community was abuzz, especially since there was no independent medical report from external doctors or public agencies. On forums like Film Talk and Reddit trending posts questioned, why would a star of Redford's stature not have a thorough medical conclusion when so many other legends have? Some believed Redford, who had lived privately all his life, had arranged everything to ensure peace. But others found it unusual that cremation took place so swiftly. Just 3 days later, before all forensic paperwork was fully finalized. Adding to the mystery, an old incident from 2010 resurfaced. While filming The Company You Keep in Vancouver, Redford had fainted slightly while stepping off set. At the time, news outlets said he'd merely suffered from heat exhaustion. But now the episode seems more like an early sign of circulatory decline or central nervous fatigue conditions common in those with complex medical histories. Doctors not directly involved in the case also shared their views. On CBS's Morning Health, Dr. Laura Bernstein, a geriatric cardiologist at Stanford University, commented, "Given the clinical description and his age, it's highly plausible that he experienced a sinus node dysfunction or sudden cardiac arrest without prior symptoms. In physically resilient individuals, such endings can come very quietly. Even more, his sudden departure reignited speculation about Redford's mental and emotional state in his final months. Some bloggers claimed he had changed his sleep habits, often waking up at night to stand on the balcony and look at the stars. A haunting detail. When his housekeeper found him, he was lying on his left side, one hand gently touching the bed frame, resting his head on an open book, a Sand County Almanac, Aldo Leopold's classic work on nature. All that remains is an unanswered question. Did Robert Redford truly leave this world the way he wished, in absolute peace? Or was there something deliberately kept hidden until the very end? As the final details of his farewell faded into secrecy, the public began to look back at the quiet, gradual signs of decline over the years, each small change forming a larger portrait of aging health, and how one legend came to accept the ending of his own story. And it was precisely because of that while people were still searching for the real cause, the hidden medical secrets of his past began to resurface, opening a new chapter filled with more debate and quiet unease. Few would have guessed that behind Robert Redford's confident gaze and graceful demeanor, the man who had captivated the silver screen for more than half a century, lay a long silent struggle with illness. While the public saw a steady, iconic figure out, those in the medical field who had glimpsed his health records knew his journey carried unspoken scars. In 1947, in Santa Monica, California, 11-year-old Robert Redford contracted poliomyelitis. At that time, the United States had yet to develop a vaccine. Hospitals in Los Angeles were filled with young patients confined inside iron lung machines. Redford was fortunate to avoid that fate, but 2 weeks in bed with high fever and mild seizures changed him forever. In a 2004 NPR interview, he once said softly yet hauntingly, it was mild polio. but it felt like my body gave up on me for a while. Doctors at Santa Monica General Hospital recorded that he showed weakness in his left leg and fatigue in his right arm, symptoms typical of mild polio cases. These effects might have followed him for life, gradually reducing his cardiovascular and muscular endurance with age. Later physicians who had treated Redford revealed that he often took vitamin B.